Here we go. Hello everybody, and in this video we are going to be talking about a topic that pretty much no one else is covering, so I'm interested to see how much curiosity there is within this topic. But unfortunately for the country of Mali, we oftentimes like to say, or not like to say, well, a country is falling apart. This country is falling apart. Well, in this case, the country of Mali, Africa, is quite literally falling apart as we speak today. Now, understand this. Mali is in a collective of countries called ECOWAS, so if you're new to the party, you can't just talk about Mali alone. Whatever Mali does affects all of these other countries. And again, to bring things into today's context, more specifically, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger are very strong allies, considering ECOWAS wants to invade Niger to bring back their president to get rid of their coup. And hello everybody, if you're joining live, make sure you guys are liking the live stream. It helps out a ton. I hate that I have now become that guy, but apparently we have to like the live stream nowadays for it to do okay. So here's what's going on, and here's what's really not being reported. Let me try to make sure you guys can see this screen here. Now I've really started to like X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. A good friend of mine said, why don't you go check it out? And it's true, you get some direct access and direct news and clips of what's going on. So I've reported on this already that Mali has kicked out the French. The UN are in the middle of leaving Mali. So all that leaves for Mali are the Malian troops and Russia, Wagner. And guess what? They're involved in all of this too, because we have Wagner troops who've been taken out, which is pretty crazy. So first things first, from BBC News Africa, Mali says it has deployed additional troops to a region where Tuareg rebels have been attacking army bases. Tuareg are the militant groups, one of many militant groups that operate in Mali. There's a lot of militant groups. You can't say their names on here, so we'll just refer to them as militant groups. The rebels say they have seized control of 2 bases in the center of the country. Now, understand this. Could you imagine if in your home country you've promised the people total security? We can kick out the French. We don't need them. We can kick out the United Nations. We don't need them. And now all of a sudden you have military bases being captured. But hold on. I thought we just paid Russia to also help protect us. And when I say Russia, I'm talking about Wagner Group, of course. But that is not the case. It is getting literally worse and worse and worse. And it's also affecting all of Africa and the United States. And we'll get to that in a second. More specifically, the U.S. military. Now, we can learn a lot from these attacks because this seems to be Mali's weakness as to how these guys are attacking them. It's actually a very interesting tactic, yet advanced tactic for the means of what these guys have. And it goes to show what equipment these militant groups have and the tactics they somehow know to do. So the 2 regions or militant towns were Lier and Boram. I hope I'm saying that correct. But these are the 2 places where camps were actually captured and equipment was captured. So now these militants have equipment, and we'll get into the exact equipment, one of them being a jet, one of them being a tracked vehicle. Wild. Okay, so in this video, or not this video, but what we have here is the tactics adopted by the separatists of North Mali. They strike quickly and hard, so do all people, but they take as much equipment and weapons as possible before retreating behind anti-aircraft assets. So this is almost like the opposite of what was happening in Afghanistan for the U.S. military, where these the bad guys, I don't think you can say the name on here either, would attack the U.S. military. When the jets and the helicopters arrive, that's when they leave. There was like a time frame that the militant groups knew in eastern Afghanistan. They knew that they had about 10 minutes to attack U.S. troops and then get out of there. But over here, these militants are welcoming the advancement of jets, helicopters, it doesn't matter, because they're hiding behind, again, anti-aircraft equipment. Now, how did they get this equipment? Where is this equipment coming from? We have absolutely zero idea. Now, again, if you are watching this live, make sure to please like this live stream, and then I also will be posting the video so you guys can go back and watch this. Again, liking this live helps out a lot. I know it's annoying to say it, but we have to do it nowadays on YouTube. It's a new thing that they have us do. Okay, so they've downed 2 planes, the L-39 and Su-25. But nonetheless, for a ragtag group to capture militant camps or Malian troop camps, this is bad news for them. And it's only getting worse and worse. Here's a clip from some of the action and one of the tanks they've captured. I can't play the audio because you got some interesting things going on in the background. But I just wanted to play this clip for you guys, just so you guys can see the visuals of conflict in this country. That right there is the tank they've captured. Even if it's 1 tank, 10 tanks, it doesn't matter. It's still a massive deal for your equipment to get into the hands of the enemy. That's never a good thing here. Very bad. Also really bad is if you're going to abandon jets laying around Mali, make sure that these militant groups don't have the ability to get access to them. Because again, even if these things don't work, it works against your population of Mali, who already, it looks like they're not trusting their government or their security forces. So now all of a sudden you have militant groups capturing a tank, capturing jets, putting it all over social media. That is a very scary feeling. I can only imagine what the people of Mali are going through, where all of a sudden this jet that they had is not in their possession. Even more scary for Mali, and I can't play this on YouTube for obvious implications. I'll read this title. Militants carried out an attack and Wagner and other Malian troops. And at least one Russian PMC combatant and Malian troop were taken out. Which, again, massive deal. Russia's supposed to be there and promise freedom. Now, of course, you're going to have people who get taken out. But Russia put a really big emphasis on how we're really going to help Mali. We're going to take care of you. Kick the French out. Kick the UN out. And now all of a sudden, you literally have these guys running around free, capturing bases, capturing jets and tanks and vehicles, small arms. And this only floods into the other regions of ECOWAS. This is why ECOWAS had agreed we do not want any more coups. Now, to me, it's very surprising that absolutely no one is covering this story. I'm not saying this to toot my own horn, but I am saying this because Mali falling apart, because it affects ECOWAS, it also affects the U.S. military in a very bad way, considering the U.S. military said they're going to leave Niger if Niger pretty much gets invaded. They don't want to be a part of that. Now, the reason why this is all relevant is because when you look at the total power structure of ECOWAS, Nigeria holds all the power. Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso had all agreed we're going to all work together. But really, the backbone of that military and that, what's the word I want to use? The coalition, if you will, was going to be Mali. But now that Mali has to pull troops to defend their own country, that opens the door for ECOWAS, the French, and other nations to go on and invade Niger. Now, I still don't think this is going to be the easiest invasion ever, but I don't think people realize that Mali was falling apart. Even myself, even in the past month, Mali has been losing ground left and right way more rapid than I thought they would. And again, this is terrible news for Niger. And there's also very conflicting things here because the country of Nigeria has these juntas who are technically in charge, and they're technically supposed to be helping Mali. So does this mean now Niger is going to open up their flanks to the rest of ECOWAS to invade Niger, which means the U.S. military will have to leave Niger? Because again, according to their little super PAC thing that they have going on, whatever country gets invaded, whether it's Mali, Burkina Faso, or Niger, all of these countries have agreed we will go in and send help. The only issue is Niger only has so many assets and can't really provide that much help. The other really big issue for Mali, the things just keep piling on, is they already don't have the strongest military. They're ranked 110 out of 145. Now, again, these numbers are a little skewed and can be a little biased. A lot of times, whenever you look at the rank structures of the strength of a military, a lot of it goes into how much the military's budget is. The only issue is Mali's military has way more combat experience than a lot of militaries, even in the top 10. I mean, Mali technically has more combat experience probably than like Germany, Italy, even China, Japan. And so it's not necessarily that accurate to call Mali a bad military. They're an okay military, but they just don't have the assets and means to actually defend their country. I mean, they kicked the French out, they kicked the UN out, they definitely won't allow the United States to help them now that Russia's in there. But again, it's all relevant because now that Mali has this tiny military who's not able to defend themselves, let's even look at the manpower here. 18,000, 20,000 total military. That is tiny. That's like half a division in the U.S. military. 18,000 active personnel, 2,000 paramilitary, which would be like special forces, 350 Air Force personnel, one of your jets got taken, 12,500 Army personnel. So again, this little pack that Niger has with Mali and Mali with Niger, this means nothing anymore. If your country is falling apart and you can't handle it, things are looking really bad now also for the country of Niger. And I've shown this graph before if you've been following my channel, because I still think it's relevant. These are the epicenters of attacks in 2023. So this is a common theme here in Mali for the country to be just completely overrun with militant groups, to be attacked. And not only that, from their little helpers in Russia, Russia is also destroying the country of Mali. And I'm the last person, I try to be as down the middle as possible, but there's enough evidence to show that these little red dots here, they're destroying Mali. These are where Russians have actually attacked civilians in Mali and have created their own chaos in the country of Mali. So again, I'm going to try to give you a little, a summary of why all this is relevant, because I don't want to give you too much information at once, not to gatekeep, but it's a little complicated. So you're aware, because the country of Mali is connected to all of ECOWAS, all of these countries depend on one another for security, economic stability, etc. If one country falls, it usually bleeds into the other country. So Mali already went under a coup about a year ago, 2 years ago. They're falling apart. They have more violence. They have more economic issues. Because of that, Burkina Faso is following suit. Niger is following suit. And it's starting to affect all of the allied partners who are working within these countries, more specifically the U.S. military in Niger. Because if all these countries are falling apart, ECOWAS already said, if another coup happens, we're going to invade you and bring back the president. No more coups. Niger is the last country to fall under a coup, which means ECOWAS will invade Niger along with the French. Again, the U.S. military is in ECOWAS, or in this region of what's called the Sahel, to defend Niger, to attack militant groups, to help out these regions. But if these regions are not able to help out themselves, the U.S. military has nothing more to do there. They can only do too much, and it's only going to make the U.S. military look bad. That's actually a reason why the French are looking bad, because they're not even able to help secure these countries. They were called out and said, you're only here for money and our economy. You're not here to secure us. So I hope that all makes sense. I'm going to be making more videos on this. Again, if you are watching this live, please like this video. It helps out a lot. But in my opinion, if Mali continues to fall apart, continues to look bad, it's only going to open up the floodgates and doors for these militant groups to go into Niger. It's going to open up the doors for ECOWAS to go into Niger, because Niger has the burden now to go and support Mali. I don't know how they're going to do it, but apparently they're going to do it. And if they don't do it, now Mali is going to hate on Niger. Okay? You see how there's a vacuum here of conflict and violence where it's just looking worse and worse. And I wish more people would cover this to get more varying opinions and more detailed analysis on it. But no one's talking about this, so I figured why not us be the crew who, looks into all this. But yeah, Mali, in my opinion, is literally falling apart town by town. These militant groups have access to anti-aircraft technology. They're now picking up jets. They're picking up tracked vehicles. Somehow they're gaining more and more ground. Mali can do nothing about it. And the U.S. military definitely can't do anything about it. Mali refuses to work with the U.S. military as well. So anyway, that's what's going on in the country of Mali, in the Sahel region. And I'll keep you guys up to date, because we're getting more and more news constantly. And it's getting crazy. It really is. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you for liking the live stream. I'm going to post this video. If you guys want to leave your comments, it helps out a lot by leaving a comment on the posted video. I can also read your comments and comment back, and we can create a discussion. So thank you so much for being here. I hope you guys learned something, and I hope you guys enjoyed this topic. I don't like violence or anything like that, but unfortunately, I think this does need to be reported so people understand what is actually happening in Africa, and we get some real news out here. So thank you guys for being here. Love you all, and we will see you later.